Hi everybody, this is Dennis Lower, and you might recognize me from maybe some Discovery Channel or Investigation Network type of television work, or maybe even some movies. I know I have a movie coming out later this year that'll actually be in theaters, and I look forward to seeing you there as well. So today, I am going to share a couple of key things about the arts. Now I hear all of you are very passionate about participating in the arts, whether it's on stage, in the movies, or maybe behind the scenes. I'm going to cover a couple of tips for you today that may help you in your very early careers of exploring the creative arts world. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, what is film acting compared to theater acting? Well, I have been in stage theater for a very long time. In fact, you're not going to believe this, but I was like this big when I started working on stage. And that was really helpful because I learned a lot of things. I have been working in theater for over 43 years, actually. So it's very different being on stage as it is being like in a movie or on a television show. I'll give you an example. Let's say if I'm on stage, I'm going to say to my teacher on stage, "Miss Jesso, may I have a chocolate bar for getting an A?" Well, that would be theater because you have to go bigger because you have people sitting a couple hundred feet away in the chairs so they can see you, okay? So now let's look at it if I did something on film. And on film, what you want to do is you want to pretend you're in an elevator. So you don't need to go all big. You just need to ask the question like the person is standing right there in front of you in an elevator. "Miss Jasso, may I have a chocolate bar if I get an A?" Just like that. So you go big for theater, you go small for film and television. All right, so there's number one. Now, of course, in film and television, I was working on a popular television show many years ago, and I was sitting in the makeup chair for 2 hours. Yeah, that's a long time. So you have to sit still. You can't move. Even if you have an itch, you can't itch. You have to let it go. Well, what the makeup people were doing, and makeup jobs are really good in the industry too. So if you like doing makeup or pretending to put on makeup, that's fun. That might be something you might want to explore. But let's look at this example that I want to share with you. So in this show, I was supposed to get hit on the head. So what they did is I had to be really still, and they created a little pocket made of this doughy substance. And if they put it on my head, and then they made it flesh tone just to match my normal face. So when I got hit, it would pop open and blood would come out. Oh my gosh. Now, what do you think was that blood? It wasn't real blood because it's all pretend. That's what films and television are all about. It's just pretend situations. That blood was actually ketchup. That's right, it was ketchup. Now, we had rehearsed that scene beforehand, and when you're on a film set or a TV set, you've got people there who are watching you, and they're there to help you. So they always kind of redo your makeup at a certain point, and that's good. So when the person was making sure I was ready for this scene, they forgot to give me an earplug. Why an earplug? Well, because when I did the scene, and we had practiced it, that blood, AKA, or for example, it was the ketchup really, that ketchup came down and it went in my ear and it plugged up my ear. But I still went ahead and I played the scene perfectly. Now, they gave me that earplug so the ketchup wouldn't get in my ear. But see, you didn't know that. And if you're watching on TV, you would never have known that that was actually ketchup, and that was ketchup that was in my ear. Now, one of the drawbacks of the makeup, especially that scene, is I had to take not one shower, not 2 showers, but I had to take 5 showers just to get all that makeup and just to get everything all off, and so I could start fresh the next day. And that's the other thing I bring up. With television and movies, there's a lot of money involved in those. So you're on a very tight schedule. So they could be some very long days, but they also have a lot of really great friendships and relationships that you're going to build with other people as well. All right, so one of those things about being on a TV show is you become friends not just with other actors and other performers, but you become friends with those behind the scenes, the directors, the makeup artist. You know, can you imagine, do you like dressing up at home and playing games or pretending maybe you're in a you're in a fantasy land from like Lord of the Rings or a TV show or maybe a cartoon. Well, if you like dressing up, maybe you might be somebody who is considering being a costume person or a makeup person. Now, costumes, shows today, you could have modern, like you're in a big city, or maybe it's an old Western, or maybe it's in a couple hundred years ago in England. You just don't know. So that is one of the cool things about exploring all the different costumes and dressing up that takes place. Also, we need people in sound. There's actually an art of hooking somebody up and microphoning them. Many microphones today, actors in television shows are actually wearing a microphone, but you'll never see it because they're very cleverly disguised. They may have a microphone going down their back and it's on a remote, but you have a crew of audio sound people there that help make sure that they're hearing you during the show. Because if you're watching a TV show and you can't hear that actor or actress say their lines, then it's not really a good TV show then, because you can't see it or you can't hear it. But what about seeing? Seeing, lighting. Lighting is also very important. You gotta make sure that the scene is lit. I've seen a lot of shows today where it's very dark and almost kind of spooky and you're not sure what you're seeing. Well, that's where we have to make sure that everything is lit properly, meaning that if there's any shadows behind me or things like that, and those are all technical things as you're gonna learn in your careers in the arts that will happen. Also, there's that camera stuff. Now, if you're gonna be a cameraman or a camera woman in the industry, you're going to want to actually be very healthy and physically fit, because camera work is very, very demanding. It's not only long hours, but there are situations where you may need to crawl underneath a building or on top of a building or on top of a set or something of that sort. So you're going to want to be very physically fit to do cameras. Now, one of the advantages that all of you have today that I didn't have is computers. When I started out, there were computers, but they were very old and they never really were used like we use them today. But computer design, web design, and engineering, if you're really good with your hands and creating things with a computer, a lot of movies today are being done with computer animation. Now that's really cool. When I was your age, if I could create my own cartoons, that would have been awesome. But now you can. So practice that, work on that technology. That benefits you. And of course, get your parents' permission or your teacher's permission before you do. But that might be an area you will want to explore. And finally, what about being a filmmaker? Anybody can be a filmmaker these days, including kids. I know a lot of kids who actually who want to make films, who have made really cool films that actually are submitted to different film festivals and things of that sort. So that is my talk for today. Again, my name is Dennis Lower, and it has just been an absolute pleasure to talk with you here today. And I wish you the very best in your career and in your studies as well. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.